right, so let us begin. So first of all, I want to welcome everyone who's here and has joined us live. We're gonna go and have a wonderful, amazing conversation about social media ads. And then at the end, if you have a question, we should have some time for you to answer those. So thank you for your patience and for being here today. So today's masterclass is all about social media ads, and I am so excited that we have Gayle Olsen, who has been in the ads world for over 17 years. So she really knows her stuff, basically, right? So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her in a moment, but really she knows what she's doing. And I have to tell you that being in the retreat world and in the retreat business and having spoken with over 100 retreat leaders, everyone asks me the same question. Can I actually sell out my retreat just through ads? Do I really need to have a huge audience to actually be able to sell my retreats? And how do I do ads properly? I have dropped so much money in ads and I get no results. This has happened to me personally. I have actually invested tons of money in ads to get zero results in return. Maybe a lot of people visiting, but no conversions. So it's so important we learn how to do this properly and to get the right help and support from someone like Gayle. So let me just tell you a little bit about her, and then I'll let her take on and just guide us through this wonderful time. Yeah. So Gayle is the founder of Your Digital Marketing Mentor, where she provides coaching and consulting services to business owners globally, right? She's based in Australia, but she works with everyone around the world. So don't worry if you don't live in Australia, you can still work with her, right? She's a highly skilled digital marketing strategist, and she has a huge passion for all things digital marketing. And it's important that the person you're working with is really passionate about their job. So this is beautiful. She's one of the leading experts in omni-channel marketing, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about what this is and content strategy in the digital marketing space. So she has over 17 years of experience working across multiple industries in the UK and Australia. I mentioned already that she's a huge expert, right? So, and she has worked her way through corporate ladder as a CMO and for a well-renowned property investment agency, and now she has her own coaching and consultancy. And she helps business owners and entrepreneurs by combining a thorough knowledge of how to create omni-channel marketing strategies, as well as having the in-depth skills and expertise on how to execute those strategies for business. And since she has founded the Digital Marketing Mentor, she has worked with numerous businesses to launch, scale, and optimize to 6 and 7 figures. And if you've been in one of my classes lately, I'm all about creating a 6-figure retreat business. So this is absolutely wonderful. And she has done for you and done with you services. So thank you so much for being here, Gayle. I really appreciate your time and your energy that you put into this. And I'll leave the floor for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Really excited to do this. As you said, I am very passionate about digital marketing. I love nerding out. So bear with me while I do that with you today. So yes, I am Gayle Olsen, and we are going to be talking about social media ads today. More specifically, we are going to be talking about, I'll give you a little bit of a rundown about me, although you just did a fantastic job. Thank you. And then we're going to talk about why you might want to run social media ads. And I've put here meta ads, but this presentation applies to social media ads. So whether you're running TikTok ads, YouTube ads, meta ads, whatever it might be, the foundations are the same. The intricacies might be a little bit different, but the foundations are the same. So everything here applies to all of those different platforms. We're going to talk about prerequisites for running ads, when the right time is. How do you know that it's the right time to run ads for your business? What foundations you need to have in place, how to really determine who your ads are for, how to align your ads with your customer journey, and testing and optimizing your ads performance. So just a little bit about me. I am the founder of Your Digital Marketing Mentor, and I provide coaching and consulting services to businesses all across the world. As you said, thank you. I have been doing this for 17 years. I started my career agency side, And then I moved in-house and just kind of worked my way up that corporate ladder. And then in 2022, after a couple of years that we will not talk about, I had a mindset shift, and I just thought, I've been wanting to do this for myself, my goals, my dreams for so long, and I bit the bullet and I took the jump, and it was scary, but it's been worth it. It's been a journey, let me tell you, but it's been so worth it. So I set my consultancy up in 2022, and here I am. We're a couple of years later, and everything's, you can tell by my smile, everything's happy, and I feel a lot lighter and being able to take that control over my career now. So I am not just a digital marketer. I am also a massive fitness enthusiast, a huge mental health advocate and volunteer in my local community. I'm a foster mom to a beautiful little 3.5-year-old boy. And I've currently or recently started my own journey on the IVF program to become a single mother by choice, which is really exciting. So there's a lot going on. And it makes it really easy to combine all of that stuff going on behind the scenes when you do feel passionate about what you do. So I feel very blessed, very lucky. Okay, we're going to jump right in. But before we get into the real meaty stuff, I am sure that you've asked yourself the question, why would you even want to consider social media ads for your business? Why are they important? What are they going to do? How are they going to help? And that is a very, very good question. So social media ads are really good for increasing your brand awareness. Now, we know that people need anywhere between 8 to 30 touch points before making a buying decision now. And the higher ticket you offer, the more touch points they're going to need. So social media ads can really help raise awareness of your brand and your services, especially in a world where organic reach is always decreasing. When people see your ads, they're more likely to remember your brand and to consider doing business with you in the future. The purpose of your whole entire marketing strategy is to really remain top of mind for your audience when it comes to the point that they are ready to convert. And that's where all those different touch points come in. So if you structure your ad campaigns correctly and effectively, each touch point that you have with your audience is going to gently push them towards that buying decision without them even really knowing, yet you'll find that they go willingly, which is what we want. Your ads or your social media ads are going to give you increased engagement with your audience. So ads, and again, marketing in general, has become more and more about engagement, community, a sense of belonging to something. And people need to really resonate with what it is that you do. And more often than not now, why you do it too, especially in an industry such as yours, where you're running retreats and people need that kind of connection and that feeling of trust to bring themselves to those retreats. And depending on the nature of your retreats, some of them can be some of them can put your audience in quite vulnerable spaces. So there really needs to be that connection. The best way to foster and nurture and grow that connection is to engage. And ads allow you to very strategically serve your audience with different messaging that perfectly aligns with where they are in your customer journey. I always say you need to meet your audience where they are, not where you want them to be. If you try serving a sales ad to a cold audience, you're not going to get very far. And ads allow you to get the right message in front of the right people at the right time. And that's really crucial for anything in marketing to be successful. And lead gen, that magic elixir that we're all chasing. If you construct your ad campaigns in the right way, you're almost certainly going to see an increase in leads. But we don't just want any leads, we want convertible leads. And that's the key here. Anyone can find leads, but finding leads that are actually going to be interested in your, what you're offering is key. And you do that with targeted advertising. Strategic targeting, again, at each stage of the customer journey. As your audience moves down your funnel, the audience size decreases because it's becoming more and more refined. As you get more and more data, you can optimize this process, because with ads, you also get better customer insights. You get to know who is and who isn't responding to your ads. You get to know which creative works, what call to actions convert the most, which hooks get the most traffic. The data that you can access, the tests that you can run, they give you insights that allow you to really maximize your impact and maximize the potential of your budget, which is so important if your budget is not finite, because who has a finite budget these days? So in
I know.
turn, all of
Run
those,
ads for, sorry, I used to run ad campaigns for Marriott and we had like $1 million. That's
oh,
you know, I mean, it's a different business when you're having like retreats and you have like a limited amount of money that you can spend on ads. So thank you for bringing this to light.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you've worked in those big kind of, multi location corporations that have those massive budgets, you do get to play around a little bit more. It comes with a different set of challenges, but you do get to play around a little bit more, and you can afford to make mistakes and learn along the way. Whereas when that budget is a little bit more restricted, you have to learn quickly or you pay big. So so that those customer insights that you can get as part of your ads and running your ads, it really empower you to make decisions around scalability and control as well. So you have control over your ads in that you can be really proactive with aligning the results within your control with what might be happening in your business at the time. So for example, if you have a special promotion or you've got a launch coming up, you can increase your budget to really maximize the reach and get the message out to more people. Similarly, if you have limited resources and you can't fulfill demand for a while, you can decrease your spend until, for example, what's the word I'm looking for? You open up more seats or more spaces for your retreat, for example. So that's really important because, and I think I touch on this a little bit later down the down the presentation, but when we're looking at scalability and we're looking at scalability in the context of brand reputation, the worst thing you can do is bring all these leads in and not be able to service them. So I will touch on that a little bit later, but ads also bring you measurable results. So it's always a challenge from a marketing perspective to prove what your return on investment is, especially when it comes to a lot of the digital channels. But when you're also trying to tie in all of these different platforms that you're on and you have no idea what's working where, and when it comes to social media and social media ads, the data that we have access to really allows us to see the full impact of how your ads are performing to a much more detailed level. So we're talking about being able to track performance at every stage of the journey, from follows to engagements to conversions, but also making informed decisions around how to optimize your spend. For example, if you run TikTok ads and you want to know, are my TikTok ads doing better than my Instagram ads? What you might see when you look at your data, you might think, oh, TikTok isn't working for me, I'm not getting any conversions. All of my conversions come from Instagram. But when you look at your data, what you might see is that TikTok is really great for your business from a top of funnel perspective. So it's really great at bringing in those new people, getting you in front of those new eyes, but it's not so great for conversions. So when you're planning your campaigns, you can strategically budget accordingly. Depending on the goal of the campaign will determine where and how you allocate your budget, which makes that budget go a lot farther. And if you can prove ROI, you can make better projections as well, which means better planning when it comes to resources and operations in your business. If you know that you're expecting an influx of leads, but you don't have the means to contact them in a timely manner, you could hire a VA, for example, just to help you through this campaign. So that's the why. We're going to talk now about some prerequisites. We have gone through some of the benefits, and here are some of the things that I would suggest are absolutely essential before you even consider investing any money into ads, because without these things, you really could end up throwing some money down the drain. If you want to run an effective ad campaign, and not just social media, I'm talking, Google ads, any kind of ads that you might want to run, before you start any advertising campaign, it's really important to establish clear marketing objectives. What do you want to achieve with these ads? Do you want to increase brand awareness? Do you want to drive traffic to your website? Do you want to generate leads? Do you want to boost sales? Having a clear understanding of your marketing objectives is going to help you choose the right platforms, the right ad formats, the right targeting options to achieve your goal. You need a really well-defined target audience. In order to create effective ads, you're going to really need to understand who your ideal customers are. And we're not just talking about demographically anymore. It is not enough to just have a demographic understanding of your audience. You really need to go into the psychographics of who your ideal customer is. And you need to go deep. By understanding your target audience on a deeper level, you can create ads that are much more relevant, much more engaging, which in turn leads to higher click-through rates, higher conversions, and higher ROI. Now, if you can't delve into the psychographics of your audience, you're not going to be able to create a message in your ad that speaks directly to them. And in this world where we're all on our phones and we're in this scrolling, this mindlessly scrolling, if you can't craft your ad messaging in a way that directly speaks to them, you're not going to stop that scroll. So it's really, really important to understand everything about your audience. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail in a minute. You also need, more often than not, you can get by without these things, but I would recommend having a high quality website, or at the very least, a really high quality landing page. Once you've driven traffic to your landing page, you need to you need to ensure that it provides a really high quality user experience. It should be easy to navigate, it should load quickly, it should provide clear and compelling information about what it is that you're offering. A well-designed landing page can really help to increase conversions and maximize that ROI of your campaigns again. So it's not only important from a user experience perspective, but it's also going to impact the performance of your ads. Your ad campaigns have like a relevancy score. Each ad will have a relevancy score. And you really, if you have a low relevancy score, it impacts the success of your campaign logistically. So not only is a poor landing page going to impact conversions, but a poor score is going to mean that you could be paying more for a cost per click, because the ad deliverer, whether it be Meta or TikTok or whoever it is, they don't want to, they're in the business of making money from people, which means you need to drive conversions. And if you're not driving conversions, they're going to charge, they've got to get that money from somewhere. So they're going to be getting it from you, basically. So it affects, potentially how much you'd be paying for your campaigns, or how that budget is spent and allocated. But it also affects deliverability, because they also don't want to be serving ads that aren't working well, or not ads that aren't working well. They don't want to be serving ads that are leading to landing pages that then get clicked off straight away, because they're in the business of relevance. Everything that they do is about putting relevant ads. And when someone goes to your landing page and they have a poor landing page experience and they click off straight away, what that's telling the platform is that this isn't relevant to that person, so we won't show it. And we also probably won't show it to people similar to that person either. So you really restrict yourself with the poor landing page. And I think a lot of people don't take that element of their campaigns into consideration, because they think that it's all just about what happens in the platform, and it's not. It's about that holistic experience. So how do you know if it is the right time for you to be running ads in your business? Well, you will have established clear business goals in place. And if you do have them and you've identified that ads are the best way to achieve them, then it probably is the right time to start running social media ads. You need to know what your goals are in order to align the objective of the campaign with how the campaign is built, and ensure that you're measuring the right success metrics too. So if you don't have a clear objective, and you're you're setting a branding ad up, or you're creating a branding ad, for example, or a brand awareness ad, but you're tracking conversions, you're going to deem that ad as a failure, because there won't be any conversions coming from that ad. That's not the purpose of that ad. So you really do need to have well-defined business goals in mind before you're ready to start running your ad campaigns. I've mentioned before, you need a defined target audience. I mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again because I really do believe this is so important. Your audience is going to go on a journey with you, and you need to have a really comprehensive understanding of what they're feeling, what they're motivated by at each stage of the buying cycle. You have to have an understanding of how that changes as they progress. That way, you can really tailor your message specifically to the mindset, the fear, or the motivation that they're feeling, which in turn is going to help with your conversion rate at each of the stages. And if at any stage you find that your campaign is not performing well, it's very possible that there's a disconnect between your goal and the goal of your audience at that particular point in the journey. So that's something to consider if you're looking at something and you're thinking, this just isn't giving me what I expected or what I wanted. You need to have a budget, but it's not enough to just have a budget. You need to have a budget that you can stick to, that you can be consistent with for the duration of the campaign. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that I see people making with their ads is setting a budget that they can't be consistent with, and then making constant changes, which impacts the performance of the campaign at a really crucial stage, the machine learning stage. Now, at the beginning of every campaign that you create, there's going to need to be a period of consistency so that you can really see what's working and what isn't. Knee-jerk reactions around the budget because ads haven't produced immediate results can be really damaging to the success of the campaign long term. So make sure that you have a budget in mind that you can commit to for the minimum the first 4 to 6 weeks, I would say. You also need to have, and I touched on this briefly before as well, internal resources, the appropriate internal resources. I've seen multiple times where a client would scale their ads before they've got the internal resources to deal with the influx of leads, and it's been really detrimental because it's led to a lot of fulfillment issues. They haven't been able to get back to their leads in a timely manner. They haven't been able to provide their leads with what they promised or what they offered. And so their brand reputation has been tarnished, which is really difficult to come back from. Not to mention, if you've invested money in all of those leads that you then can't service, you've not just left money on the table, you've thrown money down the drain. So when really considering, is it the right time for me to be running these ads? I think the most important one out of that list would be the budget. Okay, I wouldn't recommend it. I'm going to say this right now. I wouldn't recommend it. You can probably wing some of the other stuff, but the budget is absolutely crucial. If you don't have the budget to commit, don't run the ads. Not yet. It's not time. So now we've got that out of the way. Let's talk about how to create an effective ad campaign. And we need to start with understanding your ad foundations. A high converting ad strategy is so much more than just a single piece of content or boosting a post that went relatively well. We know that you can leverage paid media to increase awareness, to drive interest, and to get people to take actions. And we know that ads serve the purpose of increasing intent and nudging people down your funnel. Let's look at the specific type of ads and messaging that might be suited to each stage of the funnel. So there's many versions of the funnel, but we're just going to look at it from a simplified perspective today. You've got your top of funnel, your middle of funnel, and your bottom of funnel. Top of funnel is ordinarily your awareness stage. Middle of the funnel is your consideration stage, and bottom of the funnel is your conversion stage. So with your awareness stage, you're going to want to be raising your profile with the members of your target audience who don't know you yet. You are a stranger to these people. They don't know you, they don't trust you. With your consideration stage, you're going to be wanting to create ads that take into consideration that your audience now has some awareness of what you have to offer. So you want to give them a little bit more information. You wouldn't give them too much information at the top of funnel because they're not invested in you yet. They don't want to commit to reading a huge add text. They don't know who you are. You don't deserve their time right now. That's how they'll be feeling. Whereas when you're at the middle of the funnel, okay, you piqued my interest. I remember you from that previous ad. Let's see a little bit more about what you've got to say. When you get to the bottom of the funnel, they feel more connected to you. You're in a much better position to ask them for permission to sell something. And I don't mean overtly ask them, but be serving them messages that kind of starts to prime them for that sale and that conversion. Now, I like to think of it as, I like to use the dating analogy when I think about this. So at the awareness stage, let's say you're using a dating app. And if you're at the awareness stage, this is where you're swiping left and right. Your interest is very surface level at this point. You don't want to read big, long profiles because you just haven't determined if they're worthy of your time or effort yet. At the middle of the funnel, you've connected with someone and you're in the getting to know you phase. It's not time to ask them out on a date yet, or for them to ask you out on a date yet, because you still don't know if you're invested in this person, but you might be comfortable swapping contact details. For example, back to the business side of things, that might come in the form of like a lead magnet. Like, hey, you don't really know me. I'm not asking for too much commitment right now. How about you just give me your email address and I'll send you this thing? Because it's very low commitment, very low risk. They can unsubscribe if it isn't for them. At the bottom of the funnel, you spent time chatting. They're probably part of your email list now. You know each other's features and benefits. You're ready to commit to a date. That's where your conversion comes in. And that date could be the form of a discovery call, for example, or a sales call or something like that. Now, like I said, funnels look different for different businesses. The talking stage and the dating stage could all fall into the middle of your funnel. And the conversion stage, which might be your high ticket item, is where you go steady and you're in that relationship now. And there are funnels that are more intricate. For example, you might include an advocacy or a retention stage if retention is an important metric. Now, for each of these stages, you can have multiple ads within them, depending on your customer journey. For high ticket items, it's appropriate to assume that more nurturing will be needed than for a low ticket item. So you're going to have to bear in mind the length of your customer journey in relation to, how many ads you serve them, where you serve them the ads, and like at what point in the journey. So, you might find that for high ticket items such as retreats, that consideration stage might be the longest part of your funnel. And again, bringing it back to data for a second, that's really it's really important to understand what your lead time is, what your lead to conversion time is, so that you can plan that accordingly as well. So let's go to who are your ads for, because before you start creating the ad creative, you need to focus on the messaging. You can have the most awe-inspiring, scroll-stopping visuals in the world, but without the right messaging, it's not going to get you to your goal. The messaging you choose is going to determine the hook you use, what your caption says, what call to action you use, any text overlay, and sometimes even the creative that you use as well. And to get this right, you need to understand your audience. I mentioned before, it's not enough to just know the demographics. You really need to know the deep psychographic information of your audience. You need to know everything about your ideal customer. I like to map out personas. I give my customers names, ages, families. I map them all out. And I want you to ask, when you're thinking about your audience, I want you to ask yourself questions like, what keeps them awake at night? What does success look like to them? What are they happiest with in their life at the moment? What gives them a sense of purpose? What drives them in hard times? What are they scared of? What do they value or not value? What excites them? What do they look forward to doing most at the weekend, and why? What do they wish they could change? What social issues are they passionate about? And these questions might not seem relevant as such potentially to your offer, but if you can really dive deep into those kind of values of your audience, you can speak to those values with your messaging and relate it back to your offer. So once you know your audience on that level of detail, you can craft messages that make them feel like you are speaking directly to them. And that gives them the connection that we all strive for. And that connection runs deep. It makes them feel seen, understood. It makes them feel safe. And it's really, really powerful. And as I said before, if you've got a message, think about the last ad that you stopped on. You're scrolling, and you see an ad and you're like, oh, holy shit, that's me. And you're connected to it instantly, because that power of them understanding what it is that you need in the moment in relation to what they're offering. And they've been able to craft a message or a hook that kind of instantly makes you go, it sees you see yourself, sorry, as in that story. And it's really, really powerful, really powerful. So understanding your audience is a crucial part of really creating high converting ads, as is aligning the ads to your customer journey. I'm just going to have a little cough. I'm sorry. we made it quite far without that happening. Okay, so now that we are clear on your audience and you've got your offer and nailed your ad foundations, it's time to create an ad strategy. And you want to align that ad strategy with your customer journey. Creating one ad in isolation is not going to work at all. As I said before, serving a cold audience with a sales ad is not going to get you your desired result. Let's take that back to the dating analogy. Doing that is like asking someone to marry you before you've even said hello. You might get the odd yes, but it's very, very rare. Very rare. So you need to create a series of ads, and you need to decide which ads are going to drive that initial awareness and start to get someone's attention, which ads are going to bring them back wanting to know more, and which ads are going to make them give you a heck yes when you ask them if they want what you're offering. When you put all of these ads together, they should tell a story. They should flow. They shouldn't just be a series of random messages that don't have any kind of fluidity to them. If you really want to be effective, the story that you create, the story that your ads tell, will be one that your ideal client sees themselves in as the main character. And to do that, to tell a story that they really see themselves in, you need to create a narrative that they want to make a reality for themselves, which brings us back to why you need to understand them so much. So aligning your ads with your customer journey is going to be much more effective than just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks, basically. And an important part of your ad strategy and your ad performance is the testing and optimizing. So split testing is your best friend. Split testing, also known as A/B testing. I might interject between those two terms here. But you do not want to put all of your eggs in one basket. You want to test only one variable of your ads. And you could test variables like the creative, the hook, the caption, the headline, the call to action. You could test your audience. And that way that you can continue to refine and perfect your messaging as your campaigns progress. And this is really great for optimizing your spend as well. If you know that 75% of your conversions come from females aged 30 to 55, it makes sense that you would allocate a larger portion of your budget to that audience. If you know that one particular image drives results in a lower cost per click, then you might push more budget towards that image or similar images, or you might test a rotation of images that are quite similar. Now, if you pair that image with a high converting hook that brings you your highest click-through rate and results in more conversions than any other hook you're using, you might hit a really lucrative sweet spot. And as you kind of ads move, you're always doing this, you're always testing, you're always refining, you're always running tests, and then who is the winner? Okay, now let's test that. And you've always got this hypothesis of, okay, you need to understand why you're testing it as well. So are we testing long form ads versus short form ads? Are we testing let's say we're testing wouldn't recommend it, but just off the top of my head, like a fear-based call to action versus a value-based call to action, or something like that, because your audience is going to tell you what they want in their response in the data, and you can't get that data if you just kind of do one ad per ad set. So when it comes to constructing your ad campaigns, I would say that you want to create ad sets or ad groups that have a minimum of 3 ads in there. So you can have like a control ad and then maybe 2 tests, but you're only testing one variable, remember. So you might have an ad set, for example, that you test an image versus a video versus a carousel. Everything else stays the same. You've got the same hook, the same caption, the same headline, the same call to action, but you're just testing which type of ad creative resonates most with the audience that you're targeting for that particular ad set. So and as well, we haven't touched on this yet, but we mentioned earlier that I'm an omni-channel marketing strategist. So omni-channel basically means that you'll get a lot of marketers these days that just focus on social media, or just focus on email, or just focus on content. And you might even find people that take it even a step further and just focus on Instagram. And that's because those channels and those platforms have become so intricate that there's a lot to do for just that one channel. So where I started and how I've grown, I've dabbled in all of those different platforms. So omni-channel and building omni-channel strategies is about bringing all of those platforms together and getting them to work in unity or harmony, if you like, to really create a seamless customer journey. So how are you taking them from social media to email? What are you doing with your email? And how are you using email to bring them to conversion, and all of that kind of stuff. So everything that I'm telling you about the testing and optimizing, you can relate to other channels in your marketing strategy. So I wouldn't recommend just having social media as your only channel. It might be primary, but it shouldn't be your only channel, in the same way that Facebook shouldn't be your only platform. I'm going to caveat that with don't add too many in, because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. But this is where bringing that data in and really understanding which platform works best at which stage is important, so that you can sustain it and not overwhelm yourself, but have that maximum impact. But bringing it back slightly, the testing and the optimizing, you can do this with your email marketing too. Test a headline, test a long email versus a short email, test the call to actions that you use, test segments of your audience. Once you get to the testing and optimizing, and if you can wrap your head around testing and optimizing, you're really starting to get into creating some powerful marketing that is ultra effective and really going to give you much better results. So what do we do now? Go and create your ads. Don't let this be another masterclass where you've given yourself hand cramp because you've been scribbling notes away only to not take any action. Now, I love helping people set up effective, high converting ad campaigns. So if you ever get stuck, you can see my Instagram handle there. My DMs are always open. I love chatting with people. And like I say, I love nerding out. So if you ask me a question, I'm probably going to give you an answer that's 5 pages longer than it needs to be. But if you've decided during this session that ads might be a little bit out of your depth, if you've been sitting there feeling that panic rise as you mentally add this to your never-ending to-do list, or if you have no idea where you're going to start, but you want to learn, then I have something for you. If you book in a discovery call with me and you let me know that you've attended this masterclass, and you decide off the back of that discovery call that you do want to engage in my coaching services, so that I can take you through step by step the process of setting up, testing, and optimizing your ad campaigns, you will get a 20% discount on my coaching blogs. And that's a saving of up to $250 on a block of one-to-one coaching sessions that are completely tailored to your marketing needs. We're coming up to the end of Q1 in 2024 already. I can't believe it. If you need help setting yourself up for a successful quarter 2, and you want quarter 2 to be bigger and better than quarter 1, then I'd love to talk to you about how we might be able to work together to make that happen. Now, when you book in a discovery call with me, there is no obligation at all. It's a 30-minute call where we just get to know each other a little bit. We're at that consideration stage. If you decide that you want to move down the funnel, I'll be here, but there's absolutely no obligation. So it's really low risk. It's worth a chat. I'm always there if you need me. With that in mind, I just want to say thank you so much for giving me your time today and open it up to you guys. Does anyone have any questions?
We have some people on the call, so if anyone has a question and wants to ask it, now it's the time. If not, I have a few, so I can also, I'm sure there's like some people who are like, some of the questions that like a lot of the people in my audience might actually ask is like, okay, so if you're thinking about putting ads for like to sell a retreat, there a budget that you would think it's kind of like, I know it's a very ambiguous call, that question, yeah, but like, is there a budget that is like at least you shooting, like if I'm putting, let's say I'm doing my budgeting for my retreat and then I want to put how much money I should be investing in ads, would I ask like, is there like a minimum amount that you would recommend that like if you're not, I don't know, using at least $500 in ads, then it might not be worth your effort because, well, now we can see, right, that there's at least a whole customer journey behind ads. So that means the budget goes higher than if you just decided to put an ad or boost a post on its own, right?
So essentially what you're asking is what should your budget be? Is that
yeah.
Okay.
Is there like some like a range that it will be like, don't do it if you have less than this, and expect that maybe you can go up to this? And I know
I'd say $500 is a good starting point. However, with that $500, I might consider, what do I need right now? Do I need brand awareness or do I need leads? And that is going to determine how you, again, what campaigns you create and how you structure those campaigns. So if you're like, right, I really need leads in my business right now, but I've got a limited budget. What I would say is, you're going to have, it's not ideal, but you're going to have to skip that brand awareness stage and you're going to have to use that $500 to target people that already know you. So you're going to be looking at, or at the very least are similar to people that know you and have bought from you or whatever it might be. So then we get into things like lookalike audiences or targeting people that like your page and already engage with you. So you're starting to strategically use that budget, which is a little bit limited, but that's all you've got to play with. That's all you've got to work with. Let's maximize the potential of it then. Let's not worry about the other stages of the funnel just yet. Let's get those leads in. And you might think, okay, I need the leads, but I really need the conversions too. So you might go, okay, I'm going to target the consideration stage. I'm going to target people that already know me, but I'm going to target them with a lead magnet that leads to that exchange of information, so that you can further nurture and do the conversion stage in your emails. So you're still having that flow along the customer journey, but you're just utilizing different platforms to do it. So I think, yes, $500 would probably be the minimum that I would say would be ideal. But you would have to be really, really strategic and really kind of almost stingy with your budget. Like say, no, I'm really protecting this budget because it's limited. So I'm going to be really careful about what ads I put out there and who I put them to. So again, it's just thinking about that business objective and making sure that it's aligned with what you create.
Oh yeah, this is amazing. Like everything that you're sharing is like music to my ears. I love it. So many of us, when we're in this space, we're suddenly like, oh my gosh, like I don't have enough people in my retreat. Let me just put some ads. And when we do things, in that space of like urgency and stuff, usually we just like put money down the toilet, basically, right? So it's important to have this awareness so you can plan for it, right? You can budget it in your pricing, and then you know that that is an expense that it's going to be part of your marketing campaign, right? Because we might consider, oh, I'll put the cost for like the hotel or the retreat center and the food and all this kind of things. But then what about the marketing piece that is really the that is going to bring people towards your funnel, right? And then eventually convert them into actual clients.
Yeah.
This
And I
is
think as well, it's really important. You just touched on something that triggered something for me. It's really important to look at ads. Don't look at ads as a cost for your business. Look at ads as an investment. Because if you're doing your ads right, eventually, maybe not immediately, but eventually, there will be a positive ROI there. So what you put in, you will get back, and more so. So I think so many people, kind of go, and there's this mindset that leads to those jerk reactions that I talked about. So many people go, oh, I've got to spend $500 on ads this month. And yes, you need to spend $500 on ads, but what if that $500 brings you 1,000 back? What if that $500 brings you 2,000 back? Weigh it up. Ordinarily, when I'd be thinking about budget, I would be reverse engineering. I would start at the end. How many conversions do I need? What is my conversion rate? Which means how many leads do I need? Which means what cost per lead can I afford to spend? And that, if you need this amount of leads to have that amount of conversions, then that's where you would kind of go, okay, well, I need this kind of budget. But if you're restricted, then I would really go into it with a mindset of, yes, I have to spend this, but it's not a cost, it's an investment for my business. It really is.
This is amazing. Thank you, Gayle, so much for this. I am sure everyone who's watching it and watching the replay are gonna be thinking like, oh my, I thought ads were like, sometimes we think ad it's just like is boosting ad is the same as ad, putting ads. I know it's like a common thing. And it's just so
Can I just
right? Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to interject with something there. There was something recently that came out, and it's only very recent, so I'm just in the throes of wrapping my head around it. In relation to boosting posts, in light of the whole iOS relationship, the Apple relationship with Facebook ads now, if you boost an ad on your phone, from what I believe, and I do encourage your own research around this. From what I believe, if you boost an ad or boost a post on an Apple phone, the ad is going to cost you 30%, up to 30% more, because Apple are now taking a cut or taking some sort of, so it's more expensive for you to boost an ad on Apple than it is to go into the platform, go into your business manager and create. You can still boost that post, so to speak, but create an ad for that post. Don't boost it, because you're going to pay considerably more, apparently. And I'm still in the throes of looking into that and researching it, because it's very recent. So I would encourage your listeners to do their own research around that, but just something to bear in mind.
Yeah, but the reality is, with all the changes that are always coming on like social media, like I remember I used to love that you could target Facebook groups, right? That was like my favorite thing. That was like, and I know they took it away because it was like such a good way of like spending money and actually getting results, because you're like ideal clients, you knew where they were hanging out and you could just like target them, right? So when they took it away, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like so sad. It was many years ago, but still we're changing and changing and changing and changing all the time. And because of that, I think it's so important that you get to have someone who's actually staying on top of all these updates, so you don't have to, right? I think it's just your coaching is just worth it because of that, in that sense. Because like
there's people that specialize in platforms only, like just Facebook or just Instagram, for a reason. It's because trying to keep on top of, I think last year, in the first quarter of 2023, I think there was something like in excess of 30 updates to Instagram alone. How do you keep on top of that? It's crazy. No. That's why your marketers, like, I'm only 19. That's why your marketers look so much older than they are. We're travel trying to keep up to date with everything, but no.
That's crazy. Oh yeah, Gayle, thank you so much. I really highly invite everyone who is considering, right, to run ads for your business, rather it be for the retreat, or if you have like a coaching business and you want to maybe sell your online course, to just go and have a chat with Gayle. Like, she knows her stuff. I love bringing experts into this space just because it's so important that we nurture ourselves around and we spend time with people who really know their stuff, in the sense that it just like help us really do what now in the spiritual world we call quantum leaps, right? We get to join from point A to point Z instead of going step by step. So I really highly invite all of you to go and book a call with her. And Gayle, thank you so much for your time, for the presentation, for just bringing so much light into this. For me, I think that my biggest takeaway is like, when is the right moment to start doing ads? Like, so many times just like you might be ready and you're not starting because you don't know when you're supposed to be ready to do it, right? Or the other way around. So I think this is it's so much crucial information. And like, I've learned so much. I enjoy this very, very much. So I really am super grateful to you. At the same time, yes, like everyone should just like at least choose one that it's like the big takeaway from these, that you can go and apply, or go think about, or just, I don't know, go do a test for with like these set of ads that, and just change a couple of things and spend $5 and then see what comes out of it, right? Like, go play. Your business is meant to be fun and exciting. Go do and connect with who you truly are and allow more people to see you.
Yeah, and and you've hit the nail on the head. Have fun with it. So many people kind of go, "Oh, ads, it's so stressful." It's always stressful if you let it be. Yes, there is, there's budget and you've got to think about ROIs and all that kind of stuff. But I think sometimes when you just go out and you have fun with it, and you don't put so much pressure on it to be perfect. I'm all about taking messy action. So go and create the campaign and learn, because we're all learning. And every campaign that you create, every campaign that I create 17 years down the line is unique and will come with a unique set of challenges. So you're always having to grow and adapt and learn and test and optimize and change and swivel and all that kind of stuff, and your campaigns will be no different. So just have fun with it.
Well, thank you
Thank you
everyone
so
for
much.
here. Thank you so much, and I'll see you at another time.
See you soon. Bye.